The spirit of the Olympics with an indelible stamp throughout the country of China and the city of Beijing. In the east, if you're up, well then stay up. In the west, no reason to go to sleep. It's afternoon here in Beijing. Hello again, Fred Rogan. Day 6, Session 1, second round action in the welterweight and light heavyweights. In case you missed it yesterday, American heavyweight Deontay Wilder opened with a win to advance to the quarterfinals. Wilder, one of the team leaders, provided the entire U.S. team with a boost. And light flyweight Luis Yanez, the little man with a great deal of confidence. He calls himself the Latin legend, and the legend lives on. He won yesterday and advanced to the second round. On our coverage beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern here on CNBC, welterweight Demetrius Andrade of Providence is back against Andrei Balanov of Russia. 3 years ago, he lost to Balanov in the World Championships. Two things have changed since that time. One, Andrade is now the reigning world welterweight champ. Two, for some strange and unexplained reason, people here in China have mistaken him for Kobe Bryant. How much of a difference that will make is anyone's guess. Let's go to our experts, Bob and Teddy.
Oh, Fred, that's kind of funny that they think that Andrade is Kobe Bryant. Teddy, what about his game? Does he have championship stuff like Kobe Bryant?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He does not have a slam dunk in front of him. He's fighting a fighter who beat him before. But it was 3 years ago in the 2005 World Cup. He's grown since then. He has more confidence than that since then, much more experience since then. He's looking forward to this fight. He's a big, strong fighter. He can fight inside, outside, but he needs to remember the outside game is important.
And coming up next, we're going to get a look at Carlos Banto of Cuba. Cuba lost their world champion, Islandi Lara. He defected. Banto was kicked off the team, put back on, has no international experience. He makes his Olympic debut next. But for more on Demetrius Andrade, we send it over to Jim Gray.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Well, Kobe Bryant was in the arena last night, and he said if, in fact, Demetrius does look like him, he's sure glad that he's attracting the same kind of crowds, because he says then it's only half the people that I have to deal with. As far as Demetrius and his fight, he went back and looked at that tape 3 years ago when he lost. He said, I was just a kid then. I was really young. I was just learning the ropes. I've grown so much since then. I've learned a lot during that space and time, particularly his first fight here, and he's ready now for this evening. All right, Bob, back to you and Teddy.
All right, Fred, he'll have to negotiate his way through the second round. Both of these boxers embarking upon their second round of competition. Carlos Banto of Cuba received a bye. He's just 21 years of age. He was cut from the elite team in 2005. He realized the privileges that he lost being on the elite team. He worked hard to get back, and when Islandi Lara defected in 2005, the world champion, or actually in December of 2006, Banto took advantage of that opportunity. Coach Pedro Roque said Carlos is a serious kid who prefers to fight rather than box. Billy Joe Saunders of Great Britain, talented boxer in his own right. He's only 18 years of age. He had a very good opening round win against Adam Kaliki of Turkey, the 2007 World Championship bronze medalist. It was a 14-3 victory for Saunders, Teddy. It was a very good coming out party for the 18-year-old.
He looks pretty good, Saunders. He's a southpaw. He'll go forward, and he'll box too when he has to, like he did right there. To mix it up pretty good.
Saunders got tripped up. Banto of Cuba in the red with a 2-1 lead here in the first round.
You don't hear this too much, but the Cuban is not greatly experienced. His first major international tournament. I think Saunders has a good shot here.
At the America's qualifier in March, Banto was the winner. He beat John Jackson of the Virgin Islands 12-2. He won every one of his bouts by 8 or more points. Right now, Banto has a 3-1 lead over Saunders. Make it 4-1 with that left hand.
One place where Saunders is hurting himself a little bit He's posturing to position right here, looking for one shot, but he should be using that jab. There's a little bit of a reach advantage, and he has that southpaw jab from the wrong side, and he's not using it.
Carlos Banto of Cuba in his Olympic debut with a 4-1 lead after one. Carlos Banto started in the Cuban baseball program, but he quit because the field was too far from home. Off to a good start, Teddy, a 4-1 lead against Billy Joe Saunders.
Well, right there you see Banto pressing in a little bit, but with his hands tucked up pretty good. Doesn't leave much of a target, and a counter left hook.
When Banto told his mother he was quitting the baseball program, she said, "You can only quit if you can start another sport." So he picked boxing. Right now he has a 3-point lead against Billy Joe Saunders of Great Britain.
Banto has a compact body. Saunders is a little bit more wiry, a little taller. So both should fight according to their physical makeups a little bit. And Saunders is starting to do that a little bit. On the outside, he's got the longer arms, as we talked about in the first round. Get off those punches at the right distance. Don't wait until you get in close or until Banto gets in close.
Good double hook to the body, and Saunders gets a point for it.
Now, I said at the beginning of this fight, I like Saunders. I like his style, pleasing to the eye. So is Banto's. He's got a good pro-type style. He can box, he can fight with you a little bit, and he just tied it up. And he uses that weapon for a southpaw, that right hook. Warning for talking in Saunders' corner. He uses that right hook real well. You know, it's hard for a southpaw or for an orthodox fighter to see a southpaw's right hook coming. It's coming from an angle that their eyes are just not accustomed to seeing it come from. And Saunders uses it to his advantage.
Slapping punches from Banto.
Again, both fighters fighting within their physical makeup. Banto trying to, he's a compact guy. He covers up. He makes that body even more compact the way he keeps his gloves up the proper way. And he looks to inch his way in, looks to work his way in. And Saunders would be well served to use that longer body the way he is on the outside.
Carlos Banto of Cuba with a 5-4 lead after two. Carlos Banto from Palma Soriano, Cuba, in the province of Santiago de Cuba. Turned 22 on, he will turn 22 on October the 13th. Billy Joe Saunders comes from a fighting family. His great-grandfather, Absalom Bini, was one of Great Britain's most famous bare-knuckle prize fighters. And his brother Tom is a professional boxer. Right now, Saunders with a 5-4 deficit against the Cuban, the inexperienced Cuban, and Carlos Banto. Good right hook to the body by Saunders.
Good recognition by Saunders. He recognized that Banto covered up into that peekaboo stance that he likes to do. With his gloves up around his ears, on his chin. And he gave him a chance to get off first. Saunders took advantage of it. Banto gives you that opportunity sometimes when he covers up and goes defensive like that. Gives you a chance to exploit that style. Just beat him to the punch.
6-4 lead for Banto as he scores.
A little trickery of Banto. He's not just a walk-in guy. He just showed you that. He'll slide out a little bit and he'll pot shot you when you come in. Banto looking to pot shot with the right hand. He has a southpaw in front of him. And right hand sometimes work.
Banto got credit for another body shot. I think we've seen more body shots scored in the first fight and a half than we saw the previous 5 days, Teddy.
The judges are probably getting reports about how, with telecasting, they're talking about how no body shots get scored, and they're probably picking up the pace a little.
Saunders gets one of the points back after a 4-0 run by Banto.
Saunders has undermined himself a little bit this round. Got away from that outside fight that I thought fit his body, being a little longer, and he's gone inside to a place that fits Banto's body.
Second caution for Banto for holding.
Yes, Saunders has a big fighting spirit. Sometimes he gets the better of him. When he should be boxing, he's doing this.
So a 4-1 round for Carlos Banto of Cuba. He has a 9-5 lead after 3.
All that work now, Billy, that you've done. Come on, don't let it go. Where's going to play off? Come on.
Billy Joe Saunders of Great Britain in round number 3 gives up a 4-1 disadvantage.
What's wrong with that picture? Saunders is inside. That's what's wrong with the picture. Though he throws some nice punches there, but he's in the territory that better serves the shorter, stockier Banto.
Saunders down by 4 to start the final round. Teddy, he threw a punch near the end of the last round as Banto counters with a straight right hand. He threw an uppercut. He didn't score with it, but it looks like it's something that could be there for him.
That's a good punch when you're tall and you have a shorter man like Banto coming forward. Especially with his gloves up where you can split the guard a little bit. So that could be a big punch for him this round. Actually, it's presenting itself right there, but he didn't choose. He went around the arms of Banto instead of the middle of the guard, which I thought would have been a better choice, a better opportunity. He tried the left uppercut that time, Bob. He must have heard you. But from a little too far away. An uppercut could be great, but if you throw from too far away, dangerous punch. You can leave a little bit of a gap, and you can get time before you ever get the punch off. In other words, your opponent can see daylight. He can see it coming.
Yeah, Vander Holyfield did it against Buster Douglas in 1990 to win the heavyweight championship.
Yeah, a little bit of a step back and made Douglas reach out into space with that uppercut, and he knew what to do. He flattened him.
But right now, Carlos Banto, who had a 1-point lead after 2 rounds, has opened it up. It's now 12-6.
And again, no jab, and good shot there from Banto, because there's no jab from Saunders. That jab would have stopped that pot shot from coming. That jab would have kept Banto defensive.
Well, Banto's moving around now. He's really just trying to kill time. In today's installment of Teddy's Corner, Teddy's going to show you a couple tips how, if you're down, how you can stop your guy from just running away.
And you don't want to miss it because Bob puts on a spectacular display of footwork and a couple other things.
It's coming up here later today. So Carlos Banto, in his first major international competition from Cuba, outscores Billy Joe Saunders 8-2 over the final 2 rounds. And wins it 13-6 for the 18-year-old Saunders. Disappointment after having a good opening win against Adam Kaliki of Turkey, the bronze medalist from the World Championships last year.
Saunders only 18 years old. Good future in front of him.
So Carlos Banto of Cuba, after a bye in the first round, advances with a win here in the second round. Very tighty 13-6 victory for the 21-year-old Cuban in his Olympic debut as the Olympic flame burns brightly on this Thursday in Beijing. More live boxing to come after this timeout.